everybody, once again. This is Bobcat Corner. I am Stephen Vitt, and let's get right to it. This is episode 9 of Bobcat Corner, and I just want to go through real fast couple positions on the football team that you guys should be aware of at this point. And the spring game sessions for any college football team, it's coming and going as we speak. So I just want to run down through this list of players on the Ohio Bobcats football roster for 2024 for you guys to get familiar with. But also, I want to point your attention to a link I will share concerning the wide receiver position. Um, what you should know about the wide receiver position, as well as the tight end position, which I will talk about as well here. And just a few things to uh, run through concerning the wide receiver position and to another extent the tight end position. Number one, a wide receiver has to have good hands. Uh, this goes without saying that the main point of a wide receiver in football is to be able to catch the football. That is the main responsibility of a wide receiver. You got to have good hands. You got to be able to catch the football before you can think about doing anything else. Like, you know, we have these conversations about, oh, this wide receiver has great speed and can you know cut good routes and stuff like that, and those are important, which I will get to in a moment. But above all else, you got to have good hands as a wide receiver. You got to catch the football, because if you have like hands of stone, so to speak, you're not going to make it in football. That's just common sense right there. But number two, which I'm going to list for a good quality in a wide receiver slash tight end, would be, to have good speed. Wide receivers, especially, they have to have great speed. They got to be able to have that burst off the line of scrimmage to just have that deep threat ability, because the main point of a wide receiver is to get open and to stretch the field as much as possible, especially those that have the speed. This is why speed is critical. So when the quarterback is in position to throw the football, if that wide receiver is open enough and stretches the field enough, then the quarterback can make that throw, can make that big 30, 40-yard throw, so to speak, and the wide receiver will be there. And there's going to be like basic terminology to study if you're a new American football fan. X, Y, and Z. Those are the letters used to represent wide receivers, different types of wide receivers. Now, the X wide receiver is the top wide receiver typically, and the X wide receiver is the most physically gifted wide receiver of the group. So always pay attention to the X wide receiver. Then we have the Y wide receiver, Y. Um, Typically, that's the slot receiver, lined up in the slot of a formation. Typically, Y wide receivers are smaller, but they're quicker compared to the X wide receiver and other receivers on the field. So basically, you guys are familiar with wide receivers like Julian Edelman, right? That's a past NFL reference. Smaller guys like that. They have that particular role as a smaller wide receiver. And then you have the Z wide receiver. That is typically the deep threat. Although X wide receivers could be the deep threat, more typically than not, it's the Z wide receiver that is the deep threat, that can go far, can go to the end zone more often than not, and get open. Z wide receivers are fast, agile, and have that ability to stretch the field. So it's not just one type of wide receiver that you have to account for when you're assembling, an offense for your American football team. So back to components for a good wide receiver slash tight end. I said good hands, but the second thing, speed, we have that. And the third thing, you have to be able to run good routes. And the fourth thing is that you have to be able to block. Now, I'm just going to condense these last 2 points into this one straight up talking session. You know, running good routes as a wide receiver slash tight end, again, that's common sense. You got to have, your post routes, your out routes, your in routes, flag routes. Again, you have to understand the terminology because when you have like your coaching staff drawing up these plays, or if you have your quarterback audibling from one play to another, as a wide receiver, you have to understand that. You have to anticipate such changes and such designs for plays. You have to know your assignments. If you're supposed to go out towards the sidelines, for example, you can't be making a cut inside and vice versa. You have to understand the difference between which assignment you're going to be given. So there's that. And blocking, thing about blocking is that it really helps as a wide receiver or as a tight end to block because it's not just the offensive line that has to do that. The offensive line, of course, is that fortress wall, but as a wide receiver or tight end, especially in running plays where the running back is given the football, as a wide receiver or tight end, you have to do your job. You have to do your part in pushing the ball forward. And if that means you have to give yourself up in a play via blocking so that the running back can make his move, you got to do it. You just have to do it. It's a team game. Football should be, and I believe it is, a team game. So as a wide receiver and tight end, if you know how to block and you know how to block well, it's going to benefit you in the long run. That's just how I feel, basically. So, and I will also provide resources to the Ohio Bobcats football roster. I have not done that last few times I've been talking about this, but I will starting now. So you guys can go through the list of the roster for at least the spring squad for the Ohio Bobcats, just so you can do your research on these guys and see what you come up with when it comes to statistics or just video footage of them. But just going to run through this list real fast of wide receivers slash tight ends. And I'm not going to go in any particular order here. I'm just going to run off a list here. All right. In the tight end room, particularly the tight ends, we have Bryce Butler, Bo Blankenship, Nick Segara, AJ Miller, Mason Williams, and Jake Bruno. Those are the tight ends. Now, the wide receiver room, we have a long list in the wide receiver room. Jalen Hammer, great last name. Max Rodart, Kamani DeBro, Coleman Owen, Chase Hendricks, Jacoby Jones, Rodney Harris II, Caden Hurst, Miles Cremascoli, Dom Dorwart, Jack Borer, Desmond Duffy, KJ Howard, Ryan McDowell, Matthew Stew, and Caleb Gossett. Those are your wide receivers and tight ends that have attended the spring practice session for the Ohio Bobcats for 2024, at least up until this point. But yeah, you can just go through the roster page and just evaluate their status and how they've done so far in their collegiate careers. Some of them have transferred from other schools to Ohio University. Others have been with Ohio University since the very beginning of their careers. And there again, you never know with, the transfer portal or, stuff with the NIL, which is always fluctuating. So you never know who's going to be coming in and who, of course, is going to be going out. It's just inevitable at this point in time. But yeah, I'm just going to be leaving it up to you guys to evaluate for yourselves what you think of these players. Uh, at the moment, I don't have an opinion one way or the other about these players because haven't really seen them in action yet. So until I do get like definitive uh, video footage of these guys and what they can do, because I've been searching around, I have not found anything yet. You're more likely to get video footage on power conference schools like Ohio State University as opposed to G5 conference schools like Ohio. So yeah, that is that is the rundown. I'll give you guys some resources here about wide receivers and tight ends, and really just let me know what you guys think. Uh, I hope you guys are having a good day today, and I'll be sure to provide you some more content on the Ohio Bobcats, their football program, and sports in general. And I do have other things planned down the road here. Maybe not immediately, but down the road, eventually, you're going to get some interesting content, discussion pieces going forward here. So be on the lookout for that. Well, hope you guys have a good day. Take care.